Hey guys, okay, so today we're going to be looking at toy distributors, what you need to know. We're going to look at how to find them, how to manage them, and what to expect. So I've been working with toy distributors myself for about a quarter of a century now, which feels like quite a long time, and I guess it is. I've also acted as a distributor in some of the companies I work for, distributing other people's products. And today my company is in touch with about 500 or 600 toy and game distributors around the world. And on our database, we've got around about 5,000 of these companies. So what I'm going to talk to you about today is based on some hard-earned experience. So hopefully it will make sense to you. So first thing is you can work with global, regional, national, or local distributors. Okay, so there's not many, but you can find. I mean, in effect, they're likely to be very large companies if they're a truly global distributor, but you can find some. You can definitely find all the other types. And people will ask for rights that they don't necessarily have the capability of fulfilling. What I mean is, you might find a regional distributor who's very strong in one country and is kind of the go-to person there, and they will ask for other rights, maybe because they're just trying to grow and diversify. But that doesn't mean that they've actually got any presence or they really know what they're doing in some of those countries. So I think you've got to be careful not to just blindly grant rights that a company has no real capability of using, because that's just going to lead to frustration. Talking of which, here's the biggest point that I repeat most often about distributors, and I don't mean any like ill will or malice in this. It's just the nature of how things are, right? So a distributor will inevitably always let you down eventually, or sometimes immediately. But there's a structural reason for that you have to understand in order to get the most out of the distributors that you're going to work with. So in order to stay in business and to provide stability for their own operations, by the very nature of being a distributor, you don't want just one company to work with, because if you work with one company and they take the rights away, you go bust. I've actually seen that quite a few times where a distributor's been over reliant on a particularly large business or brand, and it's been taken away from them and given to someone else, or the company's chosen to go direct, and then the company goes bust. So by the very nature, in order to stay in business, a distributor needs to have multiple companies, or even in some cases thousands of companies or products that they're working with. So therefore, by their very nature, they're not going to focus on your products and not going to put as much care and attention into your products and your brands as you are. So you have to kind of understand that in choosing to work with distributors. One example I can think of, a distributor I really liked and rated very highly, was very insistent on having the managing Amazon in their country. We reluctantly agreed, but then they were just routinely not able to keep Amazon stocked. So on the part of their opportunity, which we could have managed just as easily as them, because we could have managed Amazon's kind of back end ourselves. They were insistent on having it, but then did nothing with it, and so actually we were losing revenue, and eventually we had to take that part of it back, which they didn't like, but we didn't like losing sales. So you do have to be a little bit careful. The other really important thing to bear in mind is that just the sheer amount of choice that distributors have. So there's so many products out there in the market for them to choose from. Like literally, the average distributor will see thousands of products a year that they're asked to distribute. So in order to persuade them to agree to distribute your products, but also B, to really put any push or energy into them, you've got to develop a really compelling proposition for them. And I don't mean just what's a compelling proposition for you or for the consumer, but what's the compelling proposition for them. So is your product range going to allow them to compete with one of their bigger competitors? Is it so tried and tested that it's like more or less just a truly safe bet that's going to really do them favors with their retailers? Like, you have to work out what's in it for them. If you've got like a range of nothing special Me Too products, that's not to say that you can't still make that work with distributors, but like, you just better be really, really good at building and utilizing the development of a really good relationship with the people involved, because it's not going to be easy. I also always say, like, one thing that's a big mistake I see a lot is to just rely on like an annual trade show meeting that lasts for 30 minutes, or even like a dinner around the trade shows. Like, if this is an important relationship to you, then you need to invest more time in that. I'm not saying that if you've got 60, 70 distributors around the world, you do this for all of them, but the ones that are really important in the biggest territories that mean the most to you commercially and in whatever other sense you'd measure, you should really go and visit them in their offices, in their market. You should get them to take you around retailers. You should ask them what the challenges are. You should listen, and then you should kind of come up with solutions as to how they can deal with those challenges and like be proactive, help them basically. That's what I've seen lead to by far the best results from working with distributors. It being like a passive head office dweller, it's not going to maximize what you're going to get out of these distributors. I also think I would say that you've got to be realistic and patient. Now, it's not uncommon for some toy and game companies to sign up with a new distributor and then to have almost sacked them before the end of the first year. Like, it does take time to build up a product or brand. If there's no presence, if it's not really got a massive point of difference, like it is going to take a bit of time. Just remember, there's only so many good, well-established, reputable distributors in each country. So like if you go through a new one every year, you're going to run out of them really quickly, and you're going to leave a load of baggage, sort of negative baggage, and you're going to find it harder to get distribution in the future. So I'd say stay on good terms. Once you decide to work with a distributor, give them chance. If it doesn't work out, which does happen, just end it all on good terms, because they might not be quite the right fit for what you're doing now, but there's every chance they might be for something else. That's pretty much all we have time for on this. I just wanted to give you a quick five bullet points style bit of feedback on distributors. Before we go though, my company's increased export sales for more than 100 companies around the world. I've worked with companies from as far west as the west coast of the US to Japan, Korea, Hong Kong, China, Australia, etc., etc. If you want to find out more about how we do that, just check out www.kidsbrandinsight.com/services. I'll also put a clickable link in the video notes. But that is otherwise all we have time for. So thanks for listening, and see you next time.